everybody, this is Darrin with GuitarControl.com bringing you this video lesson, and today I've got 3 fun and easy riffs for you from the 1960s. So right now Guitar Control is giving away this really cool free chord chart. There's a link down in the description where you can download it. It's in PDF format and has every chord that you could ever need all neatly compiled onto one sheet. So you can download it, you can print it off, put a copy where you practice, put a copy in your gig bag, so just whatever situation you're in, you have any chord you need at a glance, and it's a free download. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs, and let's get close up and take a look at these. Alright, so the first one to look at is the riff from Hello, I Love You by The Doors. So this one is just made up of single notes. Alright, so we're starting here on the 5th fret of the low E string, and most of this is made up of 8th notes, at least this first measure is. So we're going to play the 5th fret of the low E string for one end, and then we're going to go to the 7th fret on the D string with your 3rd finger for 2 and. So we got 1 and 2 and. It's the same notes, just an octave higher. So 1 and 2 and then for beats 3 and 4, we're just going to take this shape and move it down a whole step. So now your first finger is picking up the 3rd fret of the low E string, and your 3rd finger is picking up the 5th fret of the D string. And we're going to do that same thing, 3 and 4 and. So that's our first measure. Alright, then starting on the second measure, on the downbeat of 1, we're going to slide, do a slide from nowhere to the 5th fret of the low E string. And so this is on the downbeat of 1, and then on the and of 1, we're going to hit the 7th fret of the A string, but this is a quarter note. So this is taking care of the and of 1 plus the downbeat of 2. And then we're going to move to the 5th fret, so I just use my first finger to go to the 5th fret of the A string, and this is a another quarter note, so it's, and then we're going to move down to the 2nd fret of the A string, and we're going to pick that to the 3rd fret with your 2nd finger, back to the 2nd fret, and then the open string. So it's, and then 2nd fret is where we're going to start and slide back up to the 5th fret, and then it just repeats. So Alright, so the next one to look at is Fortunate Son. So this is just the little intro kind of sort of little melody. So it's pretty easy to play. So we're going to start off, we're going to do a slide from nowhere. You're going to start like at the 1st fret, 2nd fret, whatever, to the 6th fret on the G string with your 2nd finger. And then we're going to hit that, so this is on the downbeat of 1. And then on the and of 1, we're going to pick the 5th fret of the high E string with your 1st finger. So how I do this is a hybrid pick. So with the guitar pick, I'm doing that downstroke, sliding up on the G string, and then put my 1st finger down on the 5th fret of the high E, and use my middle finger to pluck that. So we got, like I said, this is like 1 and 2, 3, 4. So that takes up the whole first measure. Now the second measure is the same as the first, except this shape, we're going to move it down a whole step. So now we're going to slide to the 4th fret on the G string, and then our 1st finger will be dropping to the 3rd fret on the high E string. Same count. 1 and 2, 3, 4. So that's our first 2 measures. Now, on our 3rd measure, we're going to play the G string open, and we're going to do a hammer onto the 2nd fret, and I use my 2nd finger on this. And then the second fret on the high E string with my third finger. So it's that same thing. We've got the, and that's just tied to the rest of the measure. So on the fourth measure, we do that same open G string hammer to the second fret, but now the high E string is going to be open. And then the only thing that's different is that instead of it being tied to the rest of the measure, we're going to go to the third fret on the A string, and we're going to hit this as a quarter step bend, and then follow that with the open A string. So we're hitting this on the downbeat of 3, 3, and 4, and then it just repeats. And then the last one we're going to look at is the riff from Gadda Vida by Iron Butterfly. This is a really, really weird riff, and I don't know. It was just always one of those ones when I was a kid. I used to just think it was really neat, wanted to be able to play it, and it's a really unusual riff. So we're going to look at two parts of it. So the first part we're going to look at is just like the main recognizable riff. So we're going to start here on the 5th fret of the A string with my first finger, and we're going to play this is a quarter note for beat 1 and then a quarter note for beat 2. So like 1, 2, and then starting on the downbeat of 3, we're going to pick up the 8th fret of the A string with your pinky, 3, and then on the end of 3, the 7th fret. So 3, and now we're going to go to the 8th fret of the low E string with your pinky for 4, and then the and of 4, back to the 5th fret. So. Now, when we hit that on the and of 4, that's tied to the downbeat of 1 of the second measure. So it just rings out for a whole beat. Then we're going to go to the 7th fret on the 3rd finger, to the 6th fret with your 2nd finger, then to the 5th fret with your 1st finger. So it's got this little chromatic motion in there. And then slide down to the 3rd fret. So we've got... And then it would just repeat. So that's the first two measures, and that just repeats like a million times through the song. And the other part I wanted to show is just kind of the little weird kind of harmonic minor-y sounding-ish thing that he does before it to transition into the next part of the song. So after you've done that a million times, then we're going to go right back up to the 5th fret of the A string, and this is 8th notes. So 1, 7th fret for and, downbeat of 2 is 8, and the end of 2 is back to 7. So we got 5, 7, 8, 7. Then on the downbeat of 3 is 8. Now we're going to go to the 6th fret on the D string. So I'm going to shift up with my first finger. 6, 7, 6. So that's all of that measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now in the next measure, it starts 7. 1 to 8 with your 3rd finger. So we've got a little chromatic thing in there again. 7, 8, 7, 6, 7. So we're there on the 7. 7, 8, 7, 6, 7. Then we're going to 6, 7, 6 hammer and pull off to 8th fret on the A string to the 7th. So that whole thing. Alright, so there you have it, 3 fun, not too terribly difficult riffs to play from the 1960s. So if you like this lesson, be sure to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about this or other guitar-related topics. If you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we upload throughout the week. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.